Kingdoms of Amalur, Reckoning. I'm just going to call it Reckoning from now on to keep it simple. Reckoning, hard difficulty walkthrough. Fortunately, there's no difficulty or unlockable difficulty in this game.
So what's the difference for hard? Harder enemies, less health?
So, hard is significantly harder. It's a traditional way of it being harder. You die faster and you do less damage.
Okay.
I beat the game once on normal difficulty, and the only time I ever had problems on normal difficulty was when I got to the very, very end of the game. Like, my first time through, I stuck to doing only the main quests, and then when I got to like the very last area, like when you look at the map, it's kind of like you move from the left to the right. It's not super open like Skyrim. Mm-hmm. But it's not linear either, but you do kind of move from the top left to the bottom right. Anyway, only when I got to the very bottom right area, I got this achievement for defeating an enemy that's 4 levels higher than me. And and that's when I had to kind of like do a
grinding session?
Not grinding, but like I did a whole line of the faction quests for... I forget which one I did, but anyway, so I guess what I should start off this guide with some basic details about how I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be doing a strictly sorcery guide. Like there's a couple different... There's a lot of different ways you can really spec out your character, whether it's like warrior, which is just basically strength, or finesse, or sorcery.
Is finesse like arrows?
Finesse is like... yeah, it's arrows and daggers and like sneaking up on people.
Okay.
Warrior, I can't remember if it's called warrior or strength, but that one's much simpler, kind of just like brute strength, using a shield, doing that kind of stuff. And sorcery, I just found to be the most fun. The abilities were the most fun because you end up using a ton of different like magic. And the weapon that you get to use, they're called there's 3 different weapons you can use if you do the sorcery. If you do strictly sorcery, like the game actually does a really good job of letting you mix and match if you want. Like, and I'll get into that later because we'll have plenty of time to get into that. But I just like the way the sorcerer played. I liked using the chakrams as the main weapon, and I liked mixing in the lightning and ice and fire spells when I eventually get them. Anyway,
are you doing side quests, main quests?
Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm focusing on the... Whoa, that was a weird noise. I forgot about that. I'm doing faction quests first. I'm going to do all the faction quests, and then I'm going to do the main quests.
Okay.
And the game actually scales pretty well. It does a strange thing with scaling. So when you're out in the main world, you like all the enemies are basically a set level. So if you're going through the game a lot, and then you end up like having to travel back to the opening area, and you're level 20 or something, and you travel back, you'll absolutely just walk over and just kill all the enemies instantly. Mm-hmm. But as soon as you go into a cave or like a side area, the enemies scale to your level.
Okay.
So if you go into a cave in the opening area, it's not easy. So a lot of the faction quests, it's not like they're going to be... It's not like I'm going to really over-level a lot. Some of the main quests I might, but I don't know. I wanted to do the faction quests because I just thought it'd be fun.
All right.
And I'm not doing any side quests on video. I did a couple side quests early on just to level up so I didn't get worked. Like, after this video, I did some side quests before I started to do the next faction. Mm-hmm. But, like, only a couple small ones just to earn enough cash to buy a slightly better weapon. And so for how I'm editing this guide, now, normally I'm going to edit out all the different inventory management shit. But this is basically the tutorial opening mission. This is exactly what the demo was. Did you ever play the demo?
No. Just watched you play it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is the tutorial, so I left some of those things in. And this is the sneak. This is how you sneak in the game. I didn't think I'd have enough patience to do that for the rest of the game, so I gave up on that really quickly.
Sneaking?
Yes. To walk up behind people. Like, look at how slow you're going. I'd much rather just sprint and
then fight them.
And then
because the combat's fun in this game.
The combat is fun. Well, and that's... I didn't particularly like the combat as the stealth slash ninja slash agility slash whatever the hell it's called in this game. Finesse, yeah, that's what it's actually called. And I didn't like it as the warrior type. I only really liked it as the magician or the sorcerer. So yeah, the combat is a lot of fun when you go down the sorcery path, I found. Well, anyway, I'm making 2 videos for every mission. There's going to be the video that I voice over, which is what you're watching right now. But then there's also a second version of this video that includes everything that you're seeing right here without the voiceover and all of the cutscenes and dialogue that happen in the mission too. So if you're interested in seeing all of that, just go like on our site. This video will be right next to the full version of the video for every mission for the rest of the game. So if you're interested in the story, they'll all be right there.
On WikiGameGuides.com?
Yes.
And then for YouTube, different playlists or something? You haven't thought about it?
I haven't thought that far ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, haven't thought that far ahead. Anyway, so for the sorcerer, there's a couple different weapons you get to choose from. There's the staff, and the chakrams, and the scepter. The staff and the chakrams are the ones I'm going to be using the most. And you don't get any chakrams in this opening tutorial, but you can buy them pretty early on from one of the shops, and I'd recommend doing that. They're definitely a lot of fun to use. The staff is like almost a melee weapon that has very, very short range. Like if you pull off a full combo, it will have a little bit more range to it, but not a ton. The chakrams have a lot of range, and the scepter, it's actually an interesting weapon. It can do a bunch of damage, but not enough damage to make it really worth using, because when you use the scepter, it uses your magic, your mana, which is like, if you're looking in the top left, there's the 3 bars, the red one, the blue one, and then eventually there'll be the middle bar. That's the reckoning build-up, or time shift, or it's called reckoning mode when you fill it up. But anyway, I like to use, or to save the mana for the lightning and other spells you unlock eventually. So
you don't like using the scepter?
I don't like using them because they use too much mana. I mean, and they don't use a ton of mana, but the scepters are ranged just like the chakrams are ranged. So it's kind of like you can choose between the scepter or the chakrams for a good ranged attack, but only one of them uses mana.
Yeah.
So why go with that?
Why waste it?
Yeah. So.
And do health and mana just regenerate auto?
Mana does. Health does not early on. You can unlock abilities later on that regenerate health, and you can find armor and items that regenerate health for you faster later on.
Yeah.
But early on in the game, you don't get very much health regeneration, and you're going to end up using a lot of potions and even spending money at the healers just to heal yourself, which is really fucking annoying. But one of the early level, I think maybe level 12 or something like that, relatively early level skills or spells that you can unlock for the sorcerer is a regenerate health spell.
Okay.
That like.
So you trade mana for health, and then your mana regenerates.
Right, but I mean, if you use it out of combat, it's like
Free
okay,
health.
yeah, it's free health. So you're not using a ton of potions, and it's a very helpful thing to just put 1 point into when you can, because you'll end up using it all the time out of combat. But anyway, I'll talk a little bit about how I like this whole game. I really enjoyed it a lot. Like I said, I beat the game once on normal. Really enjoyed it. Combat has stayed fun. It stays challenging. Hard is significantly more difficult than normal difficulty. I mean, like that boss. I mean, this is the opening boss of the game, right?
Yeah.
One hit just took away half my health.
Yeah.
Like, it's not easy. You have to play, and it may just end up being part of the class that I chose, but the sorcerer has very low health. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze.
You didn't say you're gonna sneeze twice, you asshole.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Anyway, and like you end up having to do a lot of hitting B to kind of avoid attacks, which I mean, it's a lot like God of War, which I think is a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I really like it. Like, so the different ways of going about it is if you're with the warrior class, you get skills that increase the amount of damage you can block. So you just sit there and hold your shield up and block a ton of damage. If you're the finesse class, you can put points into skills that reduce the amount of damage that you take while you're rolling. And if you're the sorcerer class, you unlock this ability eventually that basically teleports you instead of rolling, so it's a more effective roll. So you have to get really good at avoiding getting hit, which I found much more fun than just sitting there with my shield out, just like waiting to get hit. Like, oh, well, I got my shield and I have tons and tons of health, so whatever. I'd much rather. It's much more challenging to just have very little health and have to be much more precise and sober. Hey, achievement drink.
Alrighty.
All right.